Hello little dreamers and grown-ups too. Welcome to Benny and the Bedtime Clouds. Gentle bedtime stories to help little ones feel cozy, calm and ready for sleep. Ready for some bedtime stories? Great. But first, it's time for our sleepy breaths. Smell the strawberries. Blow the dandelions. Benny and the penguin who skated the sky. Benny, Pip, Mary and Ron the smiling cloud were sailing through the warm dusk over the Whistleberry coast, where the waves hummed lullabies and the wind smelled like salt and strawberries. They weren't looking for anything at all, just floating. But sometimes that's when the world surprises you. Below, on a crumbly pink glacier, shaped like a giant scoop of ice cream, they saw a penguin wearing feathered goggles and standing beside a ramp carved from frosted quartz. "I'm Max," the penguin shouted as they floated closer, "and I've decided I'm going to fly." Pip squeaked in delight. "But penguins don't fly." Max grinned. "Yet," he said. Mary hummed thoughtfully, balancing a dewdrop on her head. Maybe this is the place where dreams change their shape. Ron lowered them gently onto the glacier, and the air shimmered with possibilities. Max had built wings out of moon feathers and buttercup wax. They flapped with a strange, sweet sound, like silk being whispered through. "Ready," he chirped, hopping to the top of the ramp. Ron puffed into a slow, kind breeze. Pip sprinkled silver pollen in the air. Mary croaked a twinkling tune. Benny stood still, his paws warm against the glacier, watching carefully. Max zipped down the ramp, wings open wide. For a breath, he was a comet of feathers and wishful thinking. And then he skated the sky, not flying like a bird, not falling like a stone, but weaving side to side through Ron's air trails, leaving creeks of color behind him, like the sky itself was a frozen pond and he was drawing joy across it. When he finished, Max giggled so hard he slid in spirals. "I don't fly, I sky skate." And that night, as Ron floated them into a pocket of warm velvet clouds, Benny tucked Max's moon feather into his fur. His eyes fluttered slowly shut, as if a sleepy breeze had blown through his thoughts and rearranged them into dreams. The end. Benny and the Patchwork Sky. Benny, Pip, Ron and Mary were gliding above the dandelion hills when they noticed something strange. The sky had a tear. It wasn't a thunderstorm or a cloud. No, this was a soft, shimmering rip running across the blue like a loose thread on a favourite blanket. "Oh dear," Ron said, his puffy face creased with worry. "The sky's coming undone." Benny leaned over Ron's back, peering into the silken opening. Inside the tear was a quiet, velvet darkness, dotted with sleepy stars blinking too early. "We should fix it," Benny whispered. "But how do you fix the sky?" Mary asked, her green toes dangling off Ron's edge. Pip squeaked and reached into her pouch, pulling out a tiny silver thimble and a glimmering needle made from a spider's whisker. "With sky thread," she said, as if this were the most ordinary thing. They all got to work. Ron floated beneath the tear, holding everyone steady with a breeze as gentle as lullabies. Benny, with paws careful and calm, followed Pip's tiny instructions, weaving the thread up and over the rip. Mary hopped from stitch to stitch, patting them with bits of dew to seal the shimmer. It wasn't easy. The sky kept yawning wider, sleepy and soft. But together, their laughter and murmurs filled the space like morning light. When Benny's paw drew tired, Mary hummed a water lily tune. When Pip got tangled, Ron spun slowly, untangling her with a puff of wind. And when the last loop was tied, the sky exhaled. The tear faded into a soft line of stardust, like a healed scar that had once been part of something braver. The team sat back on Ron's warm, steady back, watching the sunset yawn across the mended sky. Benny blinked, heavier than he knew, and before he could even whisper thanks, the clouds beneath him folded like a lullaby, and the colours of the sunset swirled into the hush behind his eyes. The end. Benny and the realm of night's quiet hours. Benny, Pip, Mary and Ron were floating far above the treetops, wrapped in the blue hush of evening. Ron the smiling cloud shimmered with moonlight as he carried them higher than he'd ever flown. Pip twirled in the breeze like a soft seed pod, while Mary hummed a tune only stars could hear. Tonight, the sky opened a door. Right in front of them, a gentle door in the dusk revealed something waiting beyond. A realm stitched from the very threads of nighttime itself. They slipped through. First came Blue Hour, a meadow of deep indigo grass that whispered lullabies with every step. The air was velvet, the sky melting with magentas and silvers. Fireflies here blinked in slow patterns, forming sleepy constellations just for Benny. Mary skipped from glowing stone to glowing stone, leaving behind little giggles in jars made of fog. Next they passed into Gloaming Fall, a forest made of shadows that weren't scary at all. The trees had bark like dark satin, and their leaves shimmered like crow feathers dipped in moon syrup. Pip rode the back of a moth as big as a book, tracing soft loops through the cooling hush. Ron rained down tiny pearls that grew into dream blossoms when they touched the moss. Beyond that shimmered Midnight Mirror, a vast lake with no edges and no bottom. It reflected not just the stars above, but memories from dreams Benny hadn't had yet. He stepped onto the water and did not sink. It held him like a sigh. Mary floated on a lily pad shaped like a crescent moon, while Pip played a game of catch with a sleepy comet. Finally, they reached Silver Sleep, a quiet plain where time slowed like honey. The wind here wore pajamas and carried the scent of clean sheets. Benny nestled into Ron's soft curls as the sky around them turned the palest lavender. His eyes grew heavy, his pores warm with wonder. Thoughts faded into the hush between seconds. Sleep wrapped itself around him like a whisper made of stars. The end. Good night, little dreamers.